Americans watched this hearing explode when Joyce Beatty accused a cabinet secretary of acting like a hostile witness and refused to back down as chaos broke out live in Congress.
Subcommittee, Ms. Beatty is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, and to you, Secretary Bessent. The Trump administration has alleged that detecting and deterring transnational criminal organizations such as Iranian terrorist groups and their proxies is a priority for national security. But on March 2nd of 2025, your department announced that it would not enforce any penalties or fines associated with the BOI reporting rule, nor will it enforce the CTA against U.S. citizens, domestic reporting companies, or their beneficial owners. So I'm a little confused of how you square those two things. So my question is, can you explain to, or would you explain to the American public how you undermine the bipartisan CTA and expect law enforcement and national security agencies to quickly and effectively know the true owners behind shell companies registered in the United States now that foreigners, including a drug cartel, gang members, could register a company in the United States with no state or any federal ownership reporting requirements? And I remind you, in your testimony, you talked about illicit actors. Well, these are some of our illicit actors.
The Congresswoman, an overwhelming majority of the domestic entities that you're describing are hardworking Americans with small businesses. We bifurcated the bill, and any foreign entities must still file.
So are you saying to me it's not true that they must file and the foreign entities must file the BOI?
Yes, we bifurcated the CTA program that domestics do not have to. So maybe I'm asking it the wrong way. So it appears that they are doing it registering to avoid the transparency of who the companies are. I'm not sure what your question is. I'd be happy to answer it.
So I guess I'm looking at it as, and if you're saying it is not true and that they now are complying and completing the BOI. So let's take it one step at a time. So you're saying everybody is completing the BOI. You're enforcing it.
No, ma'am. I am saying that we have bifurcated it, that U.S. nationals do not have to file, and that foreign nationals do. Okay,
so I guess when we look at this, if we're limiting enforcements of the rule just to the foreign entities, that creates a giant loophole whereby any foreign entity can register in the United States and evade or not do the BOI reporting requirements.
Well, they would be subject to all. They would have to come through a U.S. financial institution, so they would be subject to all U.S. institutions,
including the BOI. Including the BOI. Including the BOI. Yes or no? Because the answer is no. I mean, you can say it however you want to, but the answer is no. And this makes it easier, and this is what I want the American folks to know. It makes it easier for human and drug traffickers, cartels, terrorists, organizations, and other criminals to do business in the United States. And when you're limiting the enforcement just to foreign entities, it exempts 99% of the entities that Congress intended the law to cover when it was passed into law. So I think I do have my answer. We're just not agreeing on it, and we know why. So let me go to my second. Let me go to my second question. The clock is running. It's my time. It is my time. You will not do this on my time. Now, I'm going to ask for a few more seconds since he refused to comply with my time, not his time. In 2016, former Secretary Jack Lew announced that Harriet Tubman was to be the new face of the $20 bill. Can you tell me what's the current status of this project?
No, ma'am, I can't, but my staff will get back to you.
No, I want you to get back to me. Because, see, there seems to be an issue when it comes to things that affect people of color or people who live in poverty, whether it is what you're doing with Social Security, what you are doing with restricting funds.
The gentlewoman's time is expired. The gentlewoman's time is expired.
To me?
The gentleman
Mr.
from
Chairman,
Texas,
I need him to answer if he will. I'm not a staff person. I'm not asking him to have his staff report to me. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm addressing it to you to ask him to respect me. Mr. Chairman,
gentlewoman's time has expired.
I need him to address if he will answer me. No, I'm not going to.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
I'm not going to stop until you direct him.
The gentlewoman's time has
What began as a routine oversight hearing quickly turned into one of the most tense exchanges Congress has seen this year. Representative Joyce Beatty pressed Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent over a major policy decision tied to corporate transparency laws, and within minutes, the hearing shifted from policy discussion to a heated confrontation about accountability, national security, and whether top officials are dodging direct scrutiny from elected representatives. Beatty's central concern focused on the administration's decision not to enforce penalties connected to beneficial ownership information reporting under the Corporate Transparency Act. The law was designed to expose shell companies, often used for money laundering, terrorism financing, and organized crime. Beatty argued that suspending enforcement creates dangerous loopholes, potentially allowing criminal networks to hide ownership structures behind U.S.-registered businesses. Secretary Bessent defended the move by explaining the program had been bifurcated, meaning foreign entities would still face reporting requirements while domestic companies would not. But Beatty pushed back forcefully, arguing that such a distinction undermines the bipartisan intent of the law. Her warning was clear: if enforcement applies unevenly, bad actors could simply exploit domestic registrations to bypass transparency altogether. The exchange intensified when Beatty demanded clear yes or no answers, accusing the secretary of avoiding straightforward responses within the United States. The clash exposed a deeper political divide, not just over regulation, but over how aggressively government should police financial secrecy. Tensions reached a breaking point when Beatty objected to Bessent, saying his staff would follow up instead of answering directly. Calling him a hostile witness, she insisted cabinet officials must respond personally to members of Congress during oversight hearings. As the chair repeatedly ruled her time expired, Beatty refused to yield, arguing that congressional authority loses meaning when officials avoid direct accountability. The confrontation soon turned procedural, with parliamentary disputes interrupting the hearing and lawmakers speaking over one another. What viewers witnessed was more than political theater. It highlighted the growing friction between Congress and executive agencies over transparency, enforcement priorities, and respect for institutional oversight. Moments like this reveal how policy disagreements increasingly unfold as public power struggles. The bigger question now facing the public is simple. Was this a necessary stand for accountability, or proof that Washington hearings are becoming partisan battlegrounds instead of fact-finding missions? Americans watched a lawmaker refuse to stay silent and a hearing descend into open conflict. If you believe oversight matters, stay informed, stay engaged, and subscribe to Democratic Lens for the moments shaping accountability in real time.